What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is McCue, and here we talk about marathon training. This is a little bit of a different setup. Hopefully it suits your fancy. I thought it was fun to set up, and maybe I will continue to shoot my talking to camera portions with this whole setup. But today you are here to see my footage and how I did at the NCRC Classic Half Marathon. It's been about a month since I did the run, so I'll show you some of the footage I filmed out there on the run, talk to camera a little bit. You can see the sights and sounds of this local race here in Raleigh, and then we'll come back here and I'll tell you a little bit about how I did the stats, how it felt to run in the Endorphin Speed 2s, how to race in them, how I felt racing in them, and then obviously my overall conclusions on my race, how things went, and that's gonna be where I will leave you. So if you enjoy running content, please consider liking, commenting, subscribing to the channel, or just make it to the end of the video and you can make that decision all over again. But without further ado, let's get into some of the footage of my NCRC Classic May 15th, 2022 half marathon. Check it out.
About 10 minutes late to give people time to get through the restroom line. So about 7:10. The course itself is out and back. There's eight aid stations and porta-johns at the first, fourth, fifth.
Okay, good. First downhill. Six miles. Starting to heat up. Crushing. Yeah. 9.27. Going pretty fast for me. Feeling good though. Just gotta finish. Back on pavement. 12.56. Doing about 7:30s. Let's finish this. That's how you know you're close to the finish line, right? Yeah, oh yeah.
Good job, good job.
Third place, Rakesh Sosa.
Oh fuck.
Another
pace.
For our women, age 40 to 44. First place was Erica Jones, who carried with a time of 53:36.
Oh, geez.
Get your medal?
No.
Second place,
There you go.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome. All right, ready?
And third place, Shannon Solomon.
What is that? Is that a camera?
Yeah.
It's on a GoPro, or is that a GoPro thing? Or
13.1 miles, 8 minutes and 28 seconds average pace, 833 feet of elevation gain, and 1 hour, 50 minutes and 36 seconds. Those were the stats on my NCRC Classic Half Marathon. I was also 53rd overall, and I came in 8th in my age group. That's males 30 to 34, which is kind of cool. It's fun to kind of be closing in on those stat groups where I can at least be, top of class for my age group. This wasn't a huge race though. I think maybe 300-400. So, being around top 50, still kind of cool. Overall single takeaway, I'll throw the splits up on the screen now. In general, you can see how they kind of slowly got quicker. I definitely felt it, and I definitely started pushing in the second half of the race. While this is a very cool thing to look back on, it's a positive stat to know that I was finishing strong and getting quicker, it still kind of left me pondering, what could I have done more? I will say overall, I did really good with the elevation, the hills and some of the climbs. I was very consistent, often passing people in those parts of the course, especially the last quarter mile of it. Very aggressive, paved portion of things, but came in strong, probably passed 3 or 4 more people in that last quarter mile. Definitely a great emotional, mental booster for things there. And like I said before, I think I could have gone a little bit quicker, essentially in the first half to even out for how quick I went in the second half. I could have burned out, but looking at the negative splits and the pace of things and how I felt finishing, I felt pretty good. I just felt like I had a little bit more in the tank. Wish I used it up a little bit earlier on. Could have been more consistent overall, and probably could have taken, up to a minute off my time, which would have been pretty cool. Final thoughts on kind of like the race itself. Things that I thought were weird. The race started 10 minutes late. They announced it at the actual start time, saying, we're going to wait for another couple of people just to get through registration so they can get to the starting line in time. Thought that was weird. Race organizers and everything seem to be very focused on, if you need to get there early, get there early. I guess maybe it was a surprise to how many people actually signed up for the race, but I thought that was weird. And finally, I thought it was a little bit concerning that once I finished, I was watching other finishers come in, and the road that it was finishing on technically wasn't closed off. So people were kind of coming up the road and seeing people and runners coming up the hill and fans on the side of the road. And they were like, can we still go down there? And no one really had an answer for them. So people were still kind of driving down into a pretty narrow, it's still 2-lane traffic, but it's a pretty narrow road. And for runners who are exhausted just trying to finish a half marathon, I thought it was pretty weird that they could have a car coming towards them out of nowhere when as far as I was aware while running, the whole thing was closed off. I never saw any cars. So yeah, that's kind of a final, definitely room to improve in terms of the organization of things for future years. That being said, it was an amazing run across a very cool state park that I've spent a lot of time in. And I really couldn't be happier with the day, the weather. I had a lot of fun, and overall the result, even though I do think I could have pushed a bit harder. So the Saucony Endorphin Speed 2s on race day, how did they perform? This is probably where a lot of you are kind of getting ahead or have been waiting for this part. Endorphin Speed 2s on race day. First and foremost, the traction, because this was not a regular pavement course. It was loose gravel, a lot of dirt. The traction was fantastic. That being said, if it was wet combined with this traction, I don't know. The outsole, of the outsole of these guys are not exactly, an aggressive tread. There is some exposed, there is some hard rubber, but a lot of it is pretty darn smooth. So I would be a little concerned if it was wet and on the same surface. Beyond the traction, a simple evaluation of the upper is that it was a warm day. We did get some sun, although most of the run was covered in trees from the state park. Not super hot. Breathability was not an issue at all. I've run in these shoes in way hotter temps, so I definitely wasn't concerned about that. So the upper, while I love it day in, day out for training, on a super hot day, I think it would still do really well in terms of breathability. If you're pushing really hard in hot temps, you're gonna sweat more. I think even in those scenarios, I haven't quite pushed it to that, but I do think the upper would do completely fine in a hot, sweaty race day environment. And finally, something that you really can't overlook with a shoe like this, because it does still have that nylon plate and a pretty large PB midsole, you can still feel the ground underneath your foot. Now, the difference I've been feeling lately training in the Invincible Zoom X Nikes, which is a big, bulky daily trainer with a huge Zoom X midsole, you can't quite feel the road underneath because you're really sinking into that midsole. Whereas in the Endorphin Speed 2s, you're getting the cushion, you're getting a little bit of that bounce from the nylon plate, but you can still really feel the road underneath your foot, which I think for half marathon or shorter is a really great kind of middle ground for things. It's not a minimal shoe that you may want for, say, like a 5K or shorter. You could use it. It still has kind of like I said, the midsole nylon plate, but you can feel the road underneath. So it's a really nice sweet spot for things like that. And also, obviously, I've been training in, like I said, in the Invincibles. So switching to these for the race day, they feel light. They're light on your foot. You lace them up. They've got a little bit of a tighter fit, narrow in the mid part of the shoe as opposed to the Invincibles. Bottom line, the lock-in, the lighter weight shoe, the feel of the road underneath your foot. It was a really great shoe to jump into for race day, as opposed to the amazingly smooth and cushioned Invincibles that I've been training in, day out. All right, my friends, that is all I have for you today. Hopefully you got a little bit of entertainment out of this new setup. It's very clean, almost like iPhone reviewer-esque, probably not running channel-esque, but we'll roll with it. I do like having a desk in front of me for maybe when I'm talking about product in the future. Let me know what you think. I'm always shaking it up, so won't commit to anything unless it really feels right. That's it. That's all. Enjoy your runs out there. Stay safe. And just let me know what races you got coming up on your end, because I need to find a new one. I guess the next one. But yeah, that's it. Peace, everybody. Just sitting here at my desk. Think there's anything in this cup? There's a little bit. Decaf coffee with some oat milk and a little bit of sugar. A little bit. And it's been cold for hours. Most decaf coffee is not good. This is counterculture, whole bean, grinded at home. I'm not an animal. Sheesh.